boys and girls, today we're going to be making bubble pizza. I'm going to advise you to fill out the demonstration worksheet as you watch, and then make sure you follow along with the bubble pizza recipe. If you need an extra copy of the demonstration sheet or the recipe, you could look on the e-board and download an attachment. So first I'm going to go over the equipment that we need to make the bubble pizza. You're going to be using a mixing bowl, a wooden spoon, a paring knife, a spatula or turner, be using a can opener. Right underneath here we have a cutting mat. I'm going to slide this over. This is a cutting mat. You could also use a cutting board, liquid measuring cup, our dry measuring cups, wax paper for the counter, parchment paper, and the cookie sheet. Lastly, you'll need your oven mitts. Dry ingredients we're using today: a can of biscuits. These are Poppin' Fresh biscuits. You'll be using mozzarella cheese and a variety of Italian seasonings if you would like. Wet ingredients we're using is pizza sauce. Step number 1 tells us to preheat the oven to 450 degrees. So I want you to check the dial. The oven temperature is lined up with 450. Once it's preheated, you'll be able to put the bubble pizza inside. Step number 2 tells us to place parchment paper on the baking sheet and to cut it exactly to size. So I'm going to take my parchment paper, line it up with the baking sheet. I'm going to cut it and place it down so it's just about the size of the baking sheet. Okay, you don't want large flaps of parchment paper hanging over the side. You want to get it as close to size as possible. I'm just going to tear that a little bit. And make sure that there's no overhang. The parchment paper is going to keep the bubble pizza from burning and sticking to the baking sheet. Once the parchment paper is lined, you can place this aside. Now we're going to prepare the counter by lining it with wax paper. I'm going to cut a large sheet of wax paper, place it down on the counter, and I'm going to place my mixing bowl on top. That way any spillage will go on the wax paper and not on the counter. Step number 3 tells us to open up the package of biscuits. So like I said earlier, these are Poppin' Fresh biscuits that you can buy at the supermarket. And there's a special way to open up these biscuits. I'm going to have you zoom in so you can see. There's a silver tab on the can of biscuits. You're going to locate that silver tab and begin to peel off the label. As you peel, you're going to hear the can pop open. You may have to give it a little twist. Okay, so as you can see, sometimes you really use your nail to get underneath. Okay, once you peel it off, you're going to twist. The can open, and there you have your biscuits. Once you open the can, you will separate all of the biscuits that are inside the package. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe there are 8 biscuits in this package. And you're going to place them onto the cutting mat. So here are our biscuits on the cutting mat. The next step is to cut each biscuit into 4 pieces. So you'll be using the paring knife, and be careful of the blade and your fingers while using the paring knife. And you're going to cut each biscuit into 4. So you're going to cut in half, cut it in half again, cutting it into 4ths. That's where math comes into play. Cut it in half. I'm going to continue to cut each biscuit this way. You'll see what that looks like once I'm done. So here are all the biscuit pieces cut into 4ths. Now I'm going to transfer these biscuit pieces into the mixing bowl. One by one, or piece by piece. And now we're going to mix the biscuits with the tomato sauce. So like I said before, we're using tomato sauce that's in a can. Please be careful when opening up the tomato sauce. The edge along the top is very sharp, so you want to watch your fingers. The tomato sauce is a liquid ingredient, so you're going to use the liquid measuring cup. And all we need is half a cup of sauce. So I'm going to bend over at eye level and pour about half a cup of sauce. Okay. Tap this so I can see. Okay, close that lid, and I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to pour the sauce over my biscuit pieces. Take your wooden spoon, scrape out all the excess, make sure you get all the sauce. And we're going to mix all the biscuit pieces and make sure that each piece is coated in the tomato sauce. Okay, so zoom in so you can see what that looks like. You want every piece to be tossed and covered in the tomato sauce. Now we're going to make mini pizzas on our lined baking sheet. So I'm going to take my wooden spoon, I'm going to take a few biscuit pieces, I'm going to make little groups of biscuit pieces covered in sauce. I'm going to scoop these out. Okay, you can use your fingers since they'll be clean. Make little mini pizzas. And you want to make sure that when you're arranging the biscuit pieces that you're giving enough room on the baking sheet for the biscuits to rise and expand. Also, you want to make sure each mini pizza has about the same number of biscuit pieces. So everyone in your group has a similar size pizza. I'm going to add a piece there. Okay, I'm going to add a piece here. I'm going to continue making my mini pizzas, finding space on the baking sheet. This will be our last mini pizza. Make sure you get any excess tomato sauce. You want to add it to the biscuits. Also notice how the biscuit pieces are close together. You don't want them separated. Otherwise, you'll have all the cheese and sauce sink to the center. So make sure that these are clumped closely to prevent that from happening. So there are about 4 to 5 biscuit pieces per mini pizza. At this point, we are going to now sprinkle the mini pizzas with mozzarella cheese. So you're going to use 1 cup of mozzarella cheese that's shredded. So here's my 1 cup. I'm going to measure this out. Okay, so we're going to measure the 1 cup of cheese. 1 cup of cheese is plenty. Okay, and once you have that 1 cup, you're going to sprinkle cheese on top of each mini pizza. So when you're placing these bubble pizzas into the oven, you want to step to the side of the oven. Make sure you're wearing your oven mitts. I'm going to pull out the rack just a little bit. I'm going to place my baking sheet on top. I'm going to push the rack and close the oven door gently. Next, I'm going to set the time, like I said, for 10 minutes. So you're going to hit timer on. The plus sign to 10 minutes. And once that blinking light is steady, we know our timer's set. After 10 minutes, I'll show you what the bubble pizza looks like. The bubble pizza timer went off, so we're going to take them out of the oven. We're going to stand over to the side, give it a little well done. I'm going to take them out, push the rack, place them on top of the stove. Okay, you want to make sure that you turn the oven off. Okay, and at this point, you're going to serve each group member a mini pizza. So whoever's serving, you want to make sure you keep the oven mitt on. You're going to take the spatula, lift it up, okay, and place it on a plate. Okay, again, use the spatula, get underneath, place the bubble pizza on the plate. Once you're done serving all of your pizzas, you're going to remove the parchment paper and run it under cold water. And I'll show you what that looks like.
Have your attention. If you're taking the leaf up.
I'm going to rinse the baking sheet under cold water so the dishwasher won't burn themselves. Once this is done, you can enjoy your bubble pizza.